pjnet.tv with the first of our reports from the Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference. Rachael Colby, who was there in a big way, is standing by in our green room. Our bumper's running. We're running late, recording, streaming, counting it down to Studio 10, starting now. Here we are, the day after. The Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference is logged into history, but we are going to bring you many. This is the first of several reports from people who were there. Normally, Sherry Lynn Bispano is scheduled for this time, but Sherry Lynn's not feeling well. But as it turns out, she has her protege, Rachael Colby, traveling with her, and subbing for Sherry Lynn is Rachael M. Colby, no stranger to our PJNet family. Well, you made it through the conference, Rachael, but it was a journey just getting there, wasn't it?
Well, yes, not a driving one this time as much. We did fly into Charlotte, and then our friend and fellow writer Norma Poor, who you need to have on the show, picked us up. We spent a few days with her, and she brought us to the conference. But we have more travels to go from here, writing related.
Okay. All right. But now, how about the travel back? Is it you going to beeline for home or parting your separate ways? How's that going to work?
No, tomorrow morning we head to back to Oak Ridge, Tennessee. The setting of my book in progress and of my article, which you will get to, I'm sure. And we will be taking a tour with the town historian, Mr. Ray Smith, again, and attending the Flatwater Tales in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And Sheila Arnold, who's a renowned storyteller, is on Friday night, and she will be retelling the stories of the Scarborough 85, the 85 students that helped integrate Oak Ridge High School in 1955. And I'm looking forward to meeting some of my people I've interviewed already for this book and the articles I've written in the Oak Ridge newspaper, and hopefully meeting some new people and making connections going forward in regards to the integration of Oak Ridge.
Since I won't say we're short on time, but we do have some time considerations. I want to get straight into the award ceremony, which is the crowning evening of the conference. And while many of our PJNet family were well represented in those awards, you were not just amongst them. You actually are taking home 3 awards. I guess you had to rent a U-Haul trailer or something, or have a trucking company send all that hardware home. But I was in the live chat that was sponsored by the conference. And of course I was writing down things as it came across the screen, but I wasn't able to write down, the genre and all the details. I just know that Rachael got 3. So let's go through them. What all were you recognized for?
Okay, well, I received, in the Foundations Award, I received second place for my essay entitled That Day. That Day is the story of a 36-year wait and journey of reconciliation between my dad and my brothers, and me being the mediator in between that and the miracle of God. And it's been many years writing it and editing again, getting it down to 1,000 words. It was hard. And I'm looking forward to it shortly being released into the world, and hopefully to impact lives and save some people some pain and bring some healing. It was a very special one for my family, and been rejected a few times and edited again, and so praise God on that one. And the second one was children's picture books, and that was a children's picture book called Tropical Dreams. I know it's over 20 years ago when I first started writing that. The words flowed into my head. I used to sing it to my kids, some of the verses to my kids, and it's been added to and changed. And so, message for writers here. I didn't even know I was a writer when I started it originally, And then when I went to my first writers conference in 2019, I showed it to a publisher, and she was nice, but it didn't go anywhere. And and so last year when I went to the conference, I had done quite a bit of work on it, and I presented it again. And she said she liked what I'd done, but that particular publication only does Christian. And she told me some stuff she'd like to see. And I went home and thought about it for months and prayed about it and came up with another verse. And at the last minute, J.D. Winiger went over it, and they liked children's picture books, the couplets, to be the same amount of syllables, and mine weren't. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why? So frustrated. And J.D. sent me his poem, which is entitled Prayer for the Children's Writer. I was like, fine, J.D., fine, God, I'll work on it again. And so right before the conference deadline, I worked on it again and got it to that point of the same amount of syllables. So reworked again after all those years. And it took first place. And also, well, someone might have taken it with them to present to their pub board. We'll find out later in the summer whether they'll accept it and someone else is interested in it too, another publisher. So pretty exciting, long wait, and thank you to J.D. Winiger for his encouragement and his counsel to go back one more time and work on it. So.
And then the big one.
Yes, the big one. The one that I've told you about before, the one which I almost quit on because I didn't know how I was going to pull it off. The first article I wrote for the Oak Ridge newspaper at the kind invitation of Mr. Ray Smith, the Oak Ridge, Tennessee historian, and his column that runs in the Oak Ridge newspaper. And I called Sherilyn, meltdown, cried my eyes out to God for half an hour, and then sighed and started writing again. It blows my mind. It took first place in the SELA Awards, and that is the subject that my book is about, the integration of Oak Ridge.
That is a work that has consumed you for several years.
Well, not quite several years. 2019 is when I came to my first conference, when I presented the idea of a children's book to a publisher, and she said, well, how about an adult book? And then it sat as I was overwhelmed. And then we had COVID, and then last year we went to Oak Ridge and met Mr. Smith, and I've been interviewing people. I currently have 24 hours of interview uploaded to transcripts from audio, and looking forward to connecting with other people.
It's my understanding is that there were more submissions this year than ever. So the competition was more fierce, and therefore, having gotten that award, it's a little bit more significant in some way.
Well, praise God. He helped me, and I knew that this would be a tough competition. And that's actually Patricia Tiffany Morris, who you've had on here, Journaling Scribbles books. She called me pretty close to the deadline one day and said, "You are going to enter that article in the SELAs, aren't you?" And I'm like, "What?" No. She really did, and I called Mr. Smith, and then the deadline's a little different for the SELAs than for the Foundation Awards. And I happened to look and went, "Oh my goodness, it has to get mailed today." And so I called Mr. Smith and panicked because he didn't pick up, and then he called me back, and I'm like, "I have to get this in the mail like before 1 o'clock, or it's not going to make it." So it was a last-minute submission.
In other words, you almost beat yourself. By not submitting.
So, and I had asked someone, and I know that Whitney Ward, I believe she took third, and Julie Lavender took second, and you've had them both on here, and they are both.
Julie Lavender, I have down for 3 awards.
Yes, She's an amazing writer, and she's an amazing woman of God.
She is a joy.
Yes, I enjoyed spending just a little bit of time here with her.
Well, we've got a few minutes. Tell us about your experience at the conference, other than receiving awards.
Other than receiving awards, well, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Blue Ridge is more like church than school, because the focus is on God and the writer connecting with God. And then I would say the second thing about Blue Ridge is connection with other writers and the relationships you build. And that's really the draw for me. It's God. It's God and the people. And some nights we were up here, Steve Lobby, the agent, and a bunch of people would just, we're gathered in the lobby talking, and I was watching, hanging in the back the other night, and just watching, and it was just amazing to see. It just felt like a big family. We're all so different, coming from all over, but it just felt so incredibly right, and just like this is God's family, and we're just all together. I mean, these are your people, We understand our quirks and crazinesses and struggles, and it's a very powerful thing. I attended Edwina Perkins' class, Diversity in Writing. Never stop learning. She's an amazing woman. Some of the other workshops I attended were on things like fear. J.P. Robinson, he was a keynote speaker. He did one on the bridge, being a bridge. He said, like, he read my mail. I had written out my mission statement, like my full mission statement, in the class that day, and he could have just thrown it into his keynote, and you would have thought it was his. It was amazing. And also a letter I had written to Dr. Spicer, a couple paragraphs from there was a total confirmation from God. And Steve Labe, his keynote on being still working on it, but that is my word of the year.
Yeah. Notice he didn't have to be still while he's delivering that. You have to be still while he delivers.
Yes, and hopefully you go and be still with God, which is the point, right?
I don't know where I get this number.
Pardon?
I don't know where I get the number, but 600 keeps coming to my mind. That's about how many people were there. Did I just make that up?
No, you did not. It was packed out, sold out rooms, everything, conference this time. Absolutely amazing. So wonderful to see everybody.
Over the period, I think it started Sunday and ended technically this morning, right? I mean, but really last night.
Not at all. No, there's still a devotional in the morning, and a speaker, and then a class, and then your last class, and then there's a keynote speaker at the end.
So okay. So it's 5 full days,
and you're done at noon on Thursday, and then we all have lunch together before we go our ways. Okay. Unless you stay behind like we did.
Yeah, I figured they would kind of let people get out to travel, home.
So I just want to give a shout out I got to spend some time with Becky and Kaliak of 540club.org, and there was a bunch of us here from the 540 Club, and it was so wonderful.
I believe she was delivering a bunch of T-shirts at the conference.
Yes, she was delivering T-shirts, and our whole group did they have a genre night where you dress as your character in your book or something to do with your writing, and so the 540, a bunch of us went as things every writer needs. We were a group rather than individuals, and so we went up on stage all at the same time. And Becky, of course, was a thesaurus. And
I always thought that was some kind of dinosaur.
So it was a great deal of fun, and just incredible keynotes. Linda Goldfarb, she's something else. Have you had Linda Goldfarb on yet?
No, I've had one conversation with her, but we're also reaching out to Edwina. Hoping to get her on, and you were the first of what is going to become not a formal or organized or series with a cadence, but we're reaching out to anyone who attended the Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference to come on the screen and share your experiences. So you're leading the way. You're the tip of the spear, Rachel. You're known for your bravery. And
the brave chicken, you mean?
Yeah, you're the guinea pig. We're testing this out. If it'll work for you, it'll work for anybody. And let me ask you something. Over the period of what, Sunday through Thursday, there's a lot of programming, but there's also, I assume, some time to fellowship with each other, interact and mingle and meet and greet. Did you meet any new people that you never met before?
Yes, well, we've met lots of new people. Some amazing connections as far as some new people. I met one lady tapped me at lunch today and asked me about my article and what I was writing, and then says her mom's from Oak Ridge. She was there from like 1942 to like 1970, and I'll leave the rest until I get to talk to her. I'm very excited. And then also another gentleman, I don't have permission to name him, so I won't yet, but he said he has a friend who's also from Oak Ridge, so he's gonna. They no longer live. He no longer lives in Oak Ridge, but he's intriguing too. I'm looking forward to speaking to him. So there was all these amazing, and there was another lady too that was a sweetheart that ran into that. She's also from Oak Ridge and knows Mr. Smith, so we had lunch together and dinner together, and we're going to meet up in Oak Ridge again too when we get there.
So now you're on your way home. I was talking to another friend of ours, a mutual friend, Doug Carter, and he mentioned something that I had never heard of, or at least never paid attention to if I had. Post-conference blues. Sort of like writer's block, but it's something different. Do you have any experience with that?
Yes, actually I started getting sad on Tuesday night because it's like, no, don't end.
Well, and
you're put into this wonderful environment, this total God-saturated cocoon, if you will.
Yeah.
And you're surrounded by people that really get you. Yeah. And it's just an incredible time of reunion with your brothers and sisters that are in the same battle as you. And, it's also go, go, go. I mean, there is half an hour break between classes, and, we have lunch and like an hour before dinner. Goes really quick though. But then you get home, and then there's there's life where you left off, and now you have to catch up with that. And there's that separation from the people that you just left, and then there's the hard work of going home and doing and applying everything that God's put in your heart and directed you to do. So yes, there is.
Well, hopefully with God's help and people like yourself, we can sustain that energy, that momentum, and that what'd you call it? A cocoon, spirit-filled cocoon, and dispatch the people there as though if they are missionaries, and they can fan out and share the good word.
Right. Well, that's exactly. If you were to launch a missionary out overseas, there's a joy and an honor, but there is a certain amount of sadness to that separation. It's normal, and then adjustment back to what they're to do, but they're called to go. And as writers, we're called to go, and the point of the conference is to connect with God and each other and refresh us so we can go do the work that God's called us to do.
Rachel, I feel like you have one of many ambassadors for PJNet there at the conference, and we appreciate you, and we especially appreciate you showing up to share your experience so that many of us couldn't go, So we'd like to get a glimpse and insight into what it was like to be there. And you've done a great job helping us.
One more thing, Coach. I'm at this conference, and I know, it's God, but Sherilyn actually, a few months ago, she called me and said, I just registered for the conference, and you're in my room. So praise God for that, right? I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, as long as whatever she has isn't contagious.
Well, whatever, just pray she gets better quickly, and she did win an award too, but I guess I'll let her tell you all about that.
Well, we can't wait to hear more, but Rachel, you're a champ. We appreciate your faithfulness to the kingdom, but also to the PJNet family. We love you, honey. We're just glad you're here. Can't wait to hear from you again.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Amen. Well, folks, that was the first of many. hopefully, reports from the Blue Ridge Writers, the Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference. Well, folks, we're not done. At the bottom of the hour, Emily Lisa is going to share with us a day in her life, a typical day. And I've got some work to do between now and then. Here's what I would like you to consider doing for the next few minutes while we're waiting. Ask yourself these two questions. What is the boldest thing that you've ever done for Jesus Christ? Second question is, when was that? And the challenge is to never be satisfied with either answer.